So why don't you tell me what are we up for here?
So we've got early numbers based off of projections. Uh, so it looks like CNN, CNBC are putting Trump up 11-0 right now, with Indiana and Vermont up. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but the New York Times is actually reporting Biden has Vermont. So some dissonance here early on that we expected to see. Uh, is really exciting. Step two, and then Florida, we're starting to get some counties reporting in there, and it's back and forth right now, and that's the big state that we're looking at. So
Okay.
come eight
So hold
o'clock
on.
shows a good landscape.
Okay. So let's see. What time is it? Okay. Let me um let me put up a graphic that just kind of summarizes what you have right there.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can do it, but let's just try real quick. Um, yeah. All right. Let's see. With that back here, let's go back to um, graphics. Add graphics. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to freeze that right there. And let's put up, I need another billboard is what I need. So let's go back to add background source. So I need to add video sources, add a source, add a clip. Okay. Slowly. Yeah, I can't. I'm going to have to do some reconfiguring in order to get a graphic on here. Actually, I'm going to go over here to I'm just going to take a freeze, I think, because I need to have that. So all right. So that's back in there. Now we can go to graphics, add graphics. All right. So are we calling these results or projections or what? just call it early projections. How's that?
Yeah.
This is where I need a whole team of people.
You're telling us we have 4 people here. We're still scrambling for our content. So
Okay, so give me just the nuts and bolts here, bullet points.
yeah. So I'm pulling stuff up right now. Uh, uh, okay. So Kentucky and West Virginia are going to Biden according to the Times right now.
Okay, what's Trump got? So I've got that's what I've got up right now.
Yeah, he's got Kentucky and West Virginia.
Okay.
And that's a total of 13 electoral votes.
You know what we should do is just like we should do some sort of like a whiteboard or something because this is just going to be too crazy. So, how many electoral for the Trumpster?
That is 13 total.
Okay, hang on. God, this thing's just such a clunky, kludgy system. I can't even get the. Oh, there it is. Okay, I hit the limit. Let's see, how am I going to do this? Let's do Trump. Trump. I'm just going to say Trump to win. Oh, this is just ridiculous. It's not going to work. Yeah, I can't even make graphics on this thing. Let's see. How can I work around this? Do you guys have like a whiteboard there or something? That's what we should do.
Yeah, we do. I'll see if I can get cleaned off.
Yeah, do that because this is ridiculous. I can't make something that's decent here.
Yeah, we're not allowed to use like no, we're not allowed to use other news sites stuff either. So
Oh, oh, we can I can oh hell I can do that.
yeah, because New York Times and CNN both have great graphics right now for their
Okay.
map. I can
Oh,
send you links, or they're actually the links are inside our document if you want to peep in there.
okay.
You grab yeah, that's what we're using. We're following both of them.
Actually, what? Oh, I know what we'll do. Let's do this. Let's have you guys make like a. If you could make a PowerPoint, like just whip something up on a border, anything like that, and then you can just share your screen.
Oh
Because
yeah, yeah, yeah.
you're in Zoom right now.
Yes, yeah. I'm gonna pull up a Google Slides right now.
Okay, do that. Do that, and then you'll have control over it too.
Yeah, give me a sec. I'm doing it right now. Hey, Kellen, you can keep that there for our use, but we won't need that for the actual thing. Well, you might as well keep it for right now, I guess. Yeah, I'm working on it right now. I'll have it ready in like a couple minutes.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your patience on that. Obviously, some technical issues, but also we're collecting a lot of information. I should say the Lanthorn, GVSU's student newspaper, award-winning student newspaper, is really hard at work right now, and we've got some, actually quite a bit to talk about, and there are some surprises. So I'm going to take us right over to Nick Moran. And Nick, why don't you update us?
So much has happened over the course of these technical difficulties. If you talked to me half an hour ago, I'd tell you that the line here at GVSU is up to 7 o'clock. Folks are waiting 2 hours to get their votes in. They're finally done here. So after 2 hours past the line being cut off, we're locked in here in Allendale. Michigan closes here in 20 minutes at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So things are settling down very locally. But nationally, it's almost like we've kind of lit the keg here. Or the gunpowder barrel. We finally have some results coming in. We're looking at Trump taking Kentucky and West Virginia, according to the New York Times right now, with Biden taking Vermont and Virginia. Now, we kind of expected these states to report in very early. We don't have any upsets here, which puts Biden ahead 16-13. Nationally speaking, the numbers are back and forth in terms of who's pulling more of the popular vote here. But what we're really looking at are some really early battleground states coming out here. Florida is the big one, so is Texas. Now, Texas has been voting red since 1976. It hasn't been flipped over to the blue side here. But it looks like right now Democrats are optimistic based off of early polling that there could potentially be a flip there. So we'll be watching Texas as stuff comes in. But Florida, all eyes are on Florida right now. This is going to be the earliest battleground state we're watching here. And a lot of projections show that if Florida goes over to Biden, it's pretty much a walk in the park there. But numbers are back and forth. I think as of right now, we have about just over 70% of the precincts loaded in right now. So we're going to hopefully have some sort of results coming up very, very soon. But as of right now, people are just sitting on pins and needles waiting for that Florida result to come in next. Everything else so far has been pretty standard.
Yeah, Nick, I wanted to point out too that so this is thanks to the New York Times, we're taking a look at this as a lot of people are, and I think one of the big surprises too for all this, or maybe not a surprise, who knows, but it looks like there is a record turnout. That's what the New York Times is saying. We're on track to have a record turnout for a presidential election, and I think that's pretty remarkable, and I think what we've been hearing, as you said, here in our polls closed right at 5 o'clock, and as you said, they stopped accepting people in line, but they're letting people go through and vote, and it's been 2 hours and 45 minutes, Nick.
End of early voting. Nationally, there was 102 million early votes cast, hands down breaking records, and that represents just about half of the adult population in the U.S. So we're looking at 204 million adults in the U.S., half of them voting early, which is a spectacular turnout. I believe at least 6 states broke voting records with all of this stuff, if not more. And as we push into election day right now, we're counting votes and seeing what turnout looks like. We're absolutely smashing records. Again, you expect turnout to increase with population size, but stuff like this, it really represents that the country is really invested and fired up in this election, especially. I think if you couldn't tell that from the early voting, which is very obvious there, you're certainly seeing it tonight with folks waiting hours out in line to vote today.
Mm-hmm. Tell me, is Kellen Voss, is he ready to give us a social media update? Kellen, I know I can hear you excited back there.
Absolutely. We'll come in the frame here real quick.
And hey, while we do this, Nick, could you go ahead and maximize your screen there? Just go ahead and get rid of your share.
Absolutely.
We'll take another look, and once again, thanks to the New York Times for that. So, Kellen, have you had a chance to check things out?
Yeah,
and if so, what have you found?
I have, Mr. Ford. So Biden actually just tweeted very timely throw to me here. Biden actually tweeted 30 seconds ago. He said, I believe he said, let me pull that back up here real quick. Biden said, Stay in line, folks. Just those simple 4 words. Stay in line, folks, is what Biden said 30 seconds ago. He's actually been the candidate that's been more fervent on social media over the last couple hours. President Trump has actually not tweeted in the past 3 hours, which seems like kind of a record for the incumbent president. The race we're currently watching here at the with the most focus here at the Lanthorn office is actually Florida. So they're going to have 29 electoral votes. Now, if this is a state that's typically gone red. They've gone red in the past 5 or 6 elections. But if they switch to blue this time around, that's a 58 vote swing in favor of Mr. Biden. That's a presidential candidate has not won the race since 1992 without winning Florida. So that's going to be a race we're watching key. All their early projections, all their polls said they were going to go red. It's looking right now that Biden's actually winning. The Sunshine State at this very moment. Biden currently up 4.32 million votes to 4.17 million votes in popular votes. The counties he is dominating in by at least a 60 to 40 margin. We got Orange County, Miami-Dade County, Broward County, and Palm Beach County. Biden is dominating the popular votes in those states. Now, 73% of the votes are already in for Florida. So if Mr. Biden can end up pulling this victory off, it's going to be a really long road ahead for Trump voters in this election.
Okay, thanks, Kellen. Now, I can tell you're very excited about this, and you got. Right. So, what about some of the other races? Now, just give us a little. Sort of a refresher on something. I know the presidential race is really getting a lot of attention, rightfully so. But what else do you see going on, let's say on the west side of Michigan, or even in Michigan? Do we have any kind of preliminary numbers there, or in some of the other battleground states? Is there? Mm-hmm. What about the other battleground states? Any word on that?
In terms of battleground states, my colleagues behind me are actually saying that Georgia is looking to turn in favor of Biden. Now, that's a state that's traditionally been red for a long time now. Biden can pull that off, and we're starting to see a little bit of a general theme here with a lot of these early polls. A lot of states that have typically been red and have typically gone Republican are now going to Mr. Biden in this election as of now. Now, obviously, it's 7:49 p.m. at the moment, Eastern Standard Time. There's a lot of time left to go in this race, but right now it's looking pretty promising for Mr. Biden.
Okay, very good. Any other races that you guys can update us on right now, or anything that's coming across your desk, Nick?
Yeah, for sure. So as of right now, again, locally here, the Landward scope is mostly on these Michigan races, and we're going to see a lot more action happening after 8. I've just been talking to some of my other editors in the room here, Liv Fellows and Megan Landgren here. The big thing, again, in terms of this presidential race, it's really interesting, is these Georgia and Texas. Those are the two kind of states that we're watching here that might have some sort of tumultuous, projections here. Like I mentioned, Texas being historically red. We see, I believe, as of right now, we have Trump in the lead, but Biden tailing closer behind. And then Ohio right now is also looking like we have a Biden lead with Trump tailing close. But there's quite a few states right now that are closer than a lot of the projections estimated they might be. So a really rocky road coming ahead, but within the hour or so, we should start getting a better landscape for how this map is going to start playing out here.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important to remind everybody, Nick, though, too, that this is very, very early, very early, and we don't have any of the real. We don't have a lot of information at all from some of the key battleground states. So, but it is interesting that Florida is a rocky road, as you say, for Trump.
Yeah, and to touch on that too, at least the time factor of things. I mean, news agencies, both local and national, are doing their best to update things as we happen. But we're really used to being in a position where come midnight, we're able to crown a victor, at least for the presidency, especially also for senators and local elections as well. We're only going to see that tonight if there's a landslide victory either direction. So that's one thing to consider too. And here in Michigan specifically, especially for a lot of our local elections, we heard from Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson that we could be counting votes all the way until Friday here in Michigan, given the system that we have. So even though our coverage might wrap up tonight and we see folks who are pulling ahead, it's going to be really tough to crown a clear victor until we see a lot more of those results come in. So again, there's a little bit of a gray area. We're going to do our best to try and make heads or tails of what the votes are telling us here. But up through Friday, there's still that possibility that we might not know, which is pretty much unprecedented.
Okay, well, thanks so much, Nick. We're going to be a little break now, and I think 10 minutes or so get us ready for we're going to try some live check-ins, actually around the country. We're going to see if we can tap into some GVSU alumni that are working just as you are in the professional world. We're going to check in before we let go where we're going to actually go. I better go confirm that right now. And as soon as I do, we'll be back in about 10 minutes or so, Nick. So thanks.